Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today to get 100 free letters for your campaign. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Hi, it's Mark Hirschi from Movified, here with Stephen Mandac from Clutch Moving Company out in San Francisco. This is part 2. We had some technical difficulties with our part 1, so we're going to kick it right back off. We're talking about social media. We're talking about, how, you don't so much take your company into like the height of social media, or you can, but building that personal image that, like, how do you want to talk about? Like, I mean, you basically, talk to so many people. You bring in some of your podcasts. You started a podcast as well too. So you're doing a lot of like this self-awareness on yourself. And then are you incorporating your moving company in the middle of that? Like, how are you doing that? You started in 2021 or so. So elaborate on that.
Yeah, so essentially, I really wanted to become an industry leader as far as on the online platform with social media and everything like that. I mean, there wasn't really anybody that was big in the moving industry. I think there was probably like Louis Massaro, and he was super popular. And I always tell this to a lot of people is that the moving industry is an old man's industry, and nobody really markets with social media. And I was like, I want to be the first person to really take ahead and make that step to really brand myself as, that industry leader in the moving space. So that's what I'm trying to do. I do market the company. So the thing is what people don't understand when you do social media. There always has to essentially be a type of roadmap that you're using and trying to use your platform for. So first, identifying what you want your roadmap for social media to be. I'll give you an example. For me, I want to use social media to help scale, my business and help scale it to multiple locations, because what I want to do is have people see me and, they're saying, hey, okay, he's using his, he's able to do certain things like that because of his moving company. So essentially indirectly marketing my moving company, because they're going to ask, they're going to ask me like, hey, what do you do? How are you able to do these things? How are you able to do this? How are you able to do that? And then it's because of my moving company. So that's, the thought process behind it. And then from there, people want to go ahead and maybe open up another location in Florida, New York, wherever it is. And, I've seen many business models just like that, and they've been very successful.
So you're talking about like roadmaps, everything else. So guide me on that. So you have, do you work on every month? You're like, okay, for January, like this is my plan. This is how I'm going to execute what I'm doing. Do you say I want to put out so much content every single day? Like, how do you plan that when looking at content?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Really, really good question. So you want to be able to first, because I'm basically restarting over my content to basically reintroduce myself on who I am, as far as, who I am as a person. And then also giving them letting my audience understand who I am as a person, and, just my thought process with everything like that. And, that's why I don't just put out a lot of business content. I do, but I don't necessarily put out every single piece of content that's about my moving company, right? I put out other things that I can connect to the audience with, whether it's, fitness, whether it's, personal stuff, development, life, and everything like that. So I can connect with my audience there. What I see a lot of the times, what people do with their personal brand, at least, is that they continually just keep continuing to post, their business. Everybody knows that you have that business, but you want to connect with the audience in different ways so they can understand you and they can relate. Things are going to be relatable, because my concept and my thought process behind growing my social media platform is to use it to scale, right? And when people see that I'm relatable, they're going to want to work with me, and they spend more time watching my stuff, whether it's podcasts or they watch my YouTube or anything like that, and they're spending more time watching me. They want to get to know me, and then they're going to want to work with me in the future, essentially. And that's when I give them my offer. My offer is probably going to be down, a couple months down the line, maybe 6 months, 8 months. I'm not too sure how it looks like, but I've actually got a lot of opportunities already where people that have reached out to me for other moving companies, and they're just like, are you offering coaching? Are you offering masterminds or anything like that? You know what you're talking about and everything. So essentially, what the social media is going to probably do for my business, I know when I talk to other entrepreneurs that you really use social media, is that it's another form of marketing, and you need to do it. You need to go ahead and do it. It opens up other doors that you never could see possible. You have a bigger and wider audience, and also what it does is it's going to like 10 times your business, because people want to put a face to the company.
They spend $1 and they make $1 back.
When Shopify says you can sell anywhere, they mean it. Whether you're at the beach.
Something went off on my thing, but yeah, to leave off there, people are just going to want to work with you in the future because of the brand.
Right. So okay. So you get started on the social media and everything else. Are you doing it all on your own? Are you subbing this stuff out? I mean, so for me, like, for someone that's listening or someone that's checked you out on social media, you have some really stellar like video editing that's being done. You have your whole podcast thing set up, right? You always have the mic ready to go where you're editing yourself. But I've watched some of your videos, where you're hopping behind a box and then you're on a different side. So you're making these kind of reels. You have these captions that are coming on here. How is that being done? Are you subbing this stuff out? Do you have like a VA? Do you like Fiverr this stuff out?
Very good question. So here's the great thing that actually that happened. My operations manager, he shoots a lot of content, and he's a comedian, and he went to school for theater, and he's really good with camera. And I was like, man, that's going to work out perfectly. So we got the ball rolling, and now that the ball's rolling, we hired 2 editors, and now he just shoots. So I have somebody there that's with me that's being able to shoot all day and whenever I need to. And everything played out hand in hand. I've got so much content that we've had to hire 2 editors. And he was the one that was doing everything in the beginning. But I'll tell you this, shooting content and making it really, I would say that it's noticeable, and it's a form. It's a form of art, and it takes a lot of time. And I want to say it's almost like running another business. It's like running another business, because there's so much work that you put in there, so much editing, thought process, game planning, and everything like that. When we want to release it, I'm only really just scratching the surface right now. We really haven't even planned out. I haven't even edited all my podcasts. I think in the past 3 months, we shot about 17 podcasts from all my guests that came in, and we've just been going hard. And we've got about, I don't know, give or take about 60 pieces of content that we still haven't released. And then we've got some YouTube videos, and then we've got some training videos of me running. I'm a marathoner, and I've been running a long time, since high school and college and everything like that. So I love it. I love it. I love talking to the audience, and it's just crazy to see the opportunities and the results that come out of the content. And I've known many people that shot content and just really seen the effects of how their life has changed from social media. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
So for someone that wants to kind of get started, and they don't have that operations guy that has the theater and the film background, is there something that you could like recommend or say, hey, like these are some of the apps or some of the options that I've used or I've looked into to make it easy for that person that just wants to start off? They all want to go, hey man, I want to do the same thing. But I don't like those captions on Instagram, right? Like, or, whatever the situation is.
Right. No, what I would say is just a lot of people have this thought where, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to do this. Just post. Just go ahead and post. And I made a video about this as well, too, where when you post and like people will just see that you're posting on there, whether it sucks, whether it's good, who cares? Just post. People know that you're putting the effort out there, and they'll see that. And then you'll get noticed because you're posting so much. And, who gives a fuck if the content sucks? Who gives a fuck? You're going to get better. You're going to get better, and content's going to get better at the end of the day because, you're going to get some feedback. You're going to get noticed and everything like that. And if you consume, I think there's a thing that was, there was a report saying that the people that consume a lot of content typically have good content because they know what to talk about.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's great. Now you must also run into like a bunch of funny stories as well too. You got some wild moving stories as you guys were growing and building up one that you want to share?
Yeah, I have one of the funniest stories. Well, it wasn't a funny story. I actually talked about it. I had it on one of my videos on there, but it was one of the most expensive houses we've ever moved. Let me think. Yeah, it was a $20 million house. And my estimator at that time, he estimated it for like 4 guys. I think it was like 4 or 5 guys. And it was really supposed to be maybe a 2 or 3 day job. And he forgot to estimate the top floor, or maybe it was a really busy day and he sent out the wrong estimate. So it was like a $5,000 estimate that the customer approved for, but the job, once it finished, it came out to $29,000. Yeah, so it was a huge price difference. And the funny thing is, on why that's a funny story to me, is because I had to go to the job at I think like 10 or 11 p.m. and I made my estimator come out to the job with me, and we finished the job the next day at 6 a.m. So we had the crew out there for damn near 20 hours. And I came out there too, and I had to work 12 hours, and we ended up having about 7 guys on the job to finish it. The job took 3.5 26-foot trucks, and it was something completely out of this world, and I was just like, oh my God. And
so what happened with the customer? Were you able to charge more, or did they say, no, sorry, man, we signed off on 5,000?
No, we actually, the customer understood. The customer understood, and he was like, wow. Yeah, I don't even know why, I didn't even think how this could be 5,000, but he understood. He's seen that we're busting our balls there and just really trying to knock out the job. We didn't break anything. He had super nice stuff, super fucking nice stuff. And that was a major job that I will never forget.
Now, what about your estimator? Like, did you give him supreme shit? Like, was there a lot of issues? Is that guy still with you?
No, he's not with me anymore. I'd shoot him out. Yeah. I was like, dude, what were you thinking? And he, of course, estimators are going to blame it on the employees. They're going to blame it on this. They're going to blame it on that. I said, there's no way that you messed up on, and it was a $20,000 difference. So,
well, and you're lucky enough that the customer even wanted and agreed to pay the bill. Because a lot of times they're going to go, hey, man, your estimator came here, you walked through the stuff, you've seen it all, so tough luck. That's why I hired you guys. It was $5,000. Here you go.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he was super cool about it. And he was like, just run the card. And then I was just like, all right, cool. And, but, oh man, I remember I slept in 2 days after that happened. And I was just like, that was horrible.
Jeez. Where do you, I see that you're pumping out this, your podcast more, and you're just doing the social media. Where do you see Clutch moving going into 2024? What's your big goal for this year?
Yeah, so my big goal for this year is we're looking to do at this location, we want to do, close to 4.5 million. That's the goal. And then I want to acquire two locations. I've been looking, online on Biz Buy Sell, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. But I want to go ahead and acquire another location, maybe in Arizona, out of California. Actually, California is so strict with rules and regulations and everything like that. I want to acquire another moving company, and go from there. But I'm looking to grow. Just want to grow and really be able to have this location, which is in San Francisco, to be able to run on its own where, I don't have to be there at all. I mean, I kind of don't have to be there right now, but there's little things some processes and, documentation that I still need to do beforehand. I never got to ask a couple of things about you. What's your goal with social media?
Honestly, I'm looking at things like what you're doing, right? So, and it's one of those things that you were talking about. It is a lot of work. It is like a second job, right? So, I mean, for me, we run close to a $10 million moving company here in Vancouver, BC. On top of that, I have, 3 young kids, and then I'm trying to do a podcast and trying to launch this. And this was a thing in the works for, years, because like for me, I meet so many movers all the time. And what happens is, as soon as you get together with movers, what do? You start bitching about this, you're bitching about that. You're right. Like, it's always about like those guys, these jobs, the rates, like, I don't want to get out of this situation. And so, for me, I was like, I just kind of want to have a podcast where you're shooting the shit with other movers, talking about a lot of the same problems and sharing stories, and toss some gold nuggets in there as well too. And that really heightened up a lot of my social media aspects of it, because it takes a lot of time, right? Like, to just design it out. I'm super critical on the things that I do post or that I want to post out there. So it's one of those things where I really want to get more involved and build that social media image. So I love the stuff that you're doing. And that's why I'm kind of picking your brain as, I don't have someone that's videotaping me, right? I don't have someone that's doing that unless I'm like off on site or I'm trying to hire someone to do it all. So I'm trying to do it all on my own. And it's a lot of work, right? Like, you have to be very strict in making sure that you're like, hey, okay, I got to put this out. We got to get these videos out. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do that. And on top of it, run a big organization.
Right. So what I would suggest, Mark, is what we do. I mean, in the beginning, it was like we had to shoot so much content, and we're doing it every single day. But what I do now that I have some content backlogged and able to post with enough content, is that we block out 2 days out of the calendar, and we go ahead and do some shoots, and the shoots are like 4 hours each. But then we also game plan on what we're going to talk about on there. And then when we game plan, so everything is already just streamlined. We come in and it's like boom, 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 boom. Next. Yeah, so that's helped out a lot.
Yeah, I like that. No, that's smart. Yeah, I mean, for 2024, that's our big thing. I mean, I'm seeing a larger YouTube presence on our podcast as well too, and the video contents that we're doing. So I'm trying to put more of that out there, and interviewing guys like you, man, like, and learning how the industry works, right? Like, I don't need to have big companies or big organizations on there. I like talking to guys that are been only in the business for 5 years. I like talking to guys that have been in the business for 40 years, because you get such a vast difference of experience. And yeah, I remember when I first took over Salmons and went to a bunch of the big conventions, we're part of Atlas Van Lines as well too. And it's like an old boys club. Right. And you start talking to some of the higher ups, the presidents in the organizations. You're like, hey, this should happen at this convention, and we should be doing this. We should be talking about this. And they're like, oh, like, we don't even know where to start. And you're like, this is just social media. Like, we're talking about, things like ChatGPT that everybody should be using. And they're like, we have no idea. Would you like to be part of that? And I'm like, yeah, well, the young guys need to learn how to, the old guys need to learn, and the young guys are the ones that are stepping up. So there's money to be made in the moving industry if you want to do it right. And I think that's the big thing too. There's a lot of guys in the industry that come in, right? And, and they take it as far as Steven in 2017, right? I got 3 trucks. I'm not deckling them. I'm parking them wherever the fuck I want to. I'm just hustling to try and take any kind of job out there. And they're lowballing, that $55 an hour for the trucks, right? And they go around. And if you look back at yourself from that guy in 2017 to how your company is now, you're looking like, I don't want those pricks in my neighborhood, because they're starting to take those business and they're hustling. It's like, and that's where I think when I first got in the industry, it was stay away from the cockroaches of the industry, right? Like there's those kind of shady movers that are out there, and align yourselves out with not looking at someone that is a competitor, but someone that can be a mentor to you as well too. And to me, there's enough people moving that you should be able to share your stories and share your experiences and learn from each other. And I did that in my area, and aligned myself with moving company owners that are like-minded, that have the same type of goals, the same way they want to see customers being treated, which is really at the end of the day, aside from having a moving company, your main customer is those homeowners, those businesses, that you're moving, and people spend thousands and millions of dollars on this stuff that you want treated properly. So, if you're not creating a good culture and you're not having a good team of movers, then get out. This isn't about making a quick buck, because to me, you're fucking over people that is just going to harm you in the end. And then the next, guess what? I'm buying your truck off you for, a couple grand, and you spent 20 grand on it, or 100 grand or whatever. Right. It's fine for me, but it's one of those scenarios where I really try and esteem myself with like-minded individuals like yourself and like a lot of the guys that I've had on the podcast, because we all want to see growth, but we also want to see a good culture, right? And I can, and from how you talk and you present yourself, that leads me to my next question is, how is the way you are on your social media translated to the guys that you have working for you?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I'm the same exact way, whether it's on social media or whether it's in person. I feel like for me, I really try to convey out my personality. I'm funny, I'm goofy, but I'm also serious. I'm funny, I'm goofy, and then when it comes down to business, I'm serious. And I feel like the culture needs to be good. I feel like there needs to be seriousness, and then also you can have a little bit of fun. You can have a lot of fun. Totally. And I think that's what I convey out to my audience, and that's exactly how what's conveyed out to my team as well too. And I think that's how I was able to grow in such a short amount of time, and just being able to do that and getting the right people in play and everything like that.
No, that's great. And I think that is so important. And I'm very much similar to you. I'm looking forward to meeting in person in Tampa. Yeah. We're both checking out the Moving Titan Retreat. So if you haven't bought your tickets, definitely buy it. It's the March 21st and 22nd. Am I right? Something like that. I think. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, but it's all about sales at this one, right? It's really about honing in to your teams. And I think, it starts from the top down, and the way you present yourself and the way you act in the office and around, your salespeople are going to see that. And you don't have to be that dick that's like, if you don't do this, you're fired. But you also need to be stern enough to go, hey, let's try this avenue. Let's try and do this. Let me support you in being the best salesperson possible. Let me support you in being the best mover possible, the best office manager, in every way, in every seat that is needed to fill in the moving world, right? So I think that's what takes what being a leader is all about.
Exactly. No, I totally agree on that as well. I think it starts from the top down. I actually had our first meeting of the year, and that's one of the things that we wanted to focus on, especially with the growth. We're like, the culture has to be fit, and the culture has to be good if we want to grow to that level. Because one bad apple, you're a $10 million organization. You know how big it is. You have a really big team, and one bad person can kind of just ruin everything.
Totally. And you sometimes have to nip it in butt fast and not allow it to carry on. So yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, hey, listen, I really appreciate you being on the podcast with us today. And I think we kind of hit some really solid nuggets in there. So, which is fantastic. I really appreciate it. If you aren't following Steven on social media, what's your handle?
My handle is _Mr.Clutch.
Yeah, I was going to introduce you today as Mr.Clutch, but I was going to let you make sure you throw that out there. I feel like you need a jingle. There's got to be some jingle behind that, Mr.Clutch, here I am.
I got my little jingle is when in doubt, clutch it out.
Clutch it out. Perfect. I feel like they can totally go a dirty way too. That's funny. Awesome. All right, Stephen, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm Mark Hirschi with Movified. Check us out on social media, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And until next time, keep moving.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you for having me on.